They didn't see her at first, just another shadow slipping through the cold gate of West Range, a blur in the periphery. Too small, too quiet to matter. Few who did look up looked away just as fast. She wasn't anyone. Not to them. No uniform, no badge, no tactical lanyard swinging pride from her chest. Just an old hoodie, shoes that looked like they'd walked too far. A backpack, more stitched up than zipped up. But when she passed under the scanner, the system saw her, not with eyes, with memory. That steel tag on her hip, and it pulsed. Red. Once, not loud, just deep, like a heartbeat. A classified one. The kind no one had clearance to feel. Behind the terminal, the operator froze, not at her face, at the name. Reactivation confirmed. Call sign, Widow Mark. She didn't stop. Didn't explain. Didn't need to. She just kept walking. Slow. Precise. Like someone who'd never left. Because maybe she hadn't. Maybe the ghosts they said retired were just waiting. Waiting for the right gate to open again. And today it did. No one gave her a seat. Not at first. Not in that room packed with gear-polished recruits and row-perfect ambition. They sat shoulder to shoulder. Elbows sharp. Eyes forward. Names still fresh on their tags. And then her. Sneakers worn through. Black joggers. A hoodie with no patch, no insignia. A boy leaned into his buddy, 2 rows down. "She here to clean the floors?" They chuckled. She didn't blink. Just stepped to the side, like permission wasn't hers to ask. An instructor clocked her. Hard stare. Straight posture. Military habit that didn't soften. Candidates sit. Visitors leave. She handed him a slip. No words. Just paper. Signed. He read it. Then again. Then frowned. Like the ink had lied to him. Take it to logistics. Verification required. She took it back. Quiet. Still. When she left, the air changed. Not loud, just a buzz. Whispers curled around her name, not loud enough to say it. Not brave enough. But the tag at her side was glowing again. Not to be noticed. But because it remembered. And it didn't forget what war tasted like. At logistics, the officer didn't smile. Asked for her name like it was a delay. Like she was a complication. She gave it. Simple. Clean, he typed. Slow at first. Then stopped. The cursor blinked. Then him. Eyes wider. Not a flag. Not a code clearance. A seal. You're direct, admit. Voice shifted. From GP shadow clearance? A second officer looked up. Brows knit. Wasn't that shut down? She didn't speak. She didn't need to. The system answered. Printer spat out a form. No department. No rank. No unit. Just one word across the top. Observer. He handed it to her. Slow like it burned. You're cleared, but don't expect special treatment. She nodded. Once, then walked out. No swagger. No explanation. But the room behind her felt like it had heard something. Something that shouldn't still be alive. Something old. Too old for their records. When she came back, no one had saved her a seat. They placed her with the misfits. The ones with warnings in their files. Disciplinary cases. Psych dropouts. Moral rehab crew. No one turned. No one welcomed. She didn't ask. She sat. Pulled out a notebook. Not a tablet. Not an iPad. Paper. Pen. Worn leather spine. Corners curled like they'd survived rain and fire. A recruit whispered. She'll be gone by Friday. Another smirked. Maybe sooner. She flipped a page. Started writing. Not neat. Not poetic. Just lines. Scribbles. Small numbers. The kind of notes nobody understood. Until they realized later, they were never meant to. She didn't defend her seat. Didn't explain her presence. She let them laugh. Let them assume. That's what people do, when they're still pretending they're in control. But the tag on her side, still, glowing, like it remembered something they didn't. The drills start at dawn. Dust kicks up. Steel clashes. Voices punch through the cold. Recruits run formations. Rifle drills. Command sequences. She stands still. Off the line. Watching. A wiry instructor stalks over. Sharp voice. Sharper boots. You're not signed up. You observing or pretending? Maren looks at her. Eyes steady. Observing. The instructor scoffs. This ain't a docuseries. Either move or move out. But Maren doesn't flinch. She just watches. Pen moves. Tiny scribble. A few recruits glance her way. One mutters, "Tourist." But something about her stillness, it doesn't match the insult. It's too still, too deliberate. Like someone who stood in worse places. Under real fire, with real blood in the dirt. The instructor walks away, but not like she won. Like she missed something. Something she should have seen. That evening's test wasn't physical. Not really. It was trust. A tactical simulation, small team, high stakes. She didn't get to choose her squad. Moral rehab unit. Conflict on two legs. More bark than bite. Loud egos. Zero cohesion. Their leader? Shaved head. Big voice. Tiny vision. He barked like command was something you yell into submission. She stood at the edge of the ops map. Didn't speak. Didn't interrupt. Their plan was a mess. One route, one exit. No fallback. He noticed her silence. Snapped, "You got a problem?" She nodded once. Calm, precise. "You'll get cut off here. And here." He rolled his eyes. "Cool story. Go write it in your diary." She didn't flinch. Didn't defend. Just stepped back. They launched the simulation. Went in loud. No angles. No rhythm. They failed. Hard. Exactly how she said. The after-action report was brutal. Nobody looked at her. But every one of them remembered. No one sat with her. Not in the hall. Not at the edges. Not even by mistake. She took her tray. Sat in the corner. Same routine. Notebook open. Pen moving like it didn't care who watched. 2 recruits passed. One with a flashy watch, loud mouth. "Homeless viper," he joked. His friend chuckled. Mocked her hand. "Dear diary, I got lost and found a war camp." She didn't look up. Didn't blink. Didn't give them the satisfaction. But then, just for a second, she raised her head. And the one with the watch froze. Because that stare. It wasn't anger. It was memory. Heavy. Sharp. Something earned. Through pain, not privilege. He turned away. Fess. The others noticed. And the laughter? It didn't stop from guilt. It stopped from fear. That night they called a sparring match. Not for sport. For silence. Rumors had started. A challenge was born. One of the top Marine recruits stepped up. Tall. Built. Overconfident. "I don't hit women," he grinned. "But I'll make an exception." Maren didn't respond. Didn't smile. Didn't stretch. She just removed her hoodie. Tied back her hair. Stood. The bell rang. 9 seconds. He was out cold. She hadn't used force. She'd used timing. Angles. Precision born from too many real fights. The mat fell silent. A camera had caught it. 2 instructors leaned close. One whispered, "SV013. That's Widow Mark, right?" For the first time all week, everyone in that room agreed on something. They were the ones out of place. She stood behind the glass, watching recruits fumble with long-range targets. One instructor spotted her. Mocked without masking it. "You even know how this works?" She pointed, just once, to the scope. The angle. "Winds east. Pull left." He rolled his eyes. Then watched. The next round hit dead center. She didn't react. Didn't smile. Just scribbled something into her notebook. Nothing loud. Nothing for show. But that night, her name entered a closed file. Observational data. Tier 1 returnee potential. Marked classified. By the time the next briefing came, no one mocked her. No one welcomed her either. Even silence carries judgment. She sat in the back again. Same chair. Same posture. But this time, the instructor didn't ask for ID. Didn't question. He stared at the tag on her side. It glowed. Once, then dimmed. Like it had confirmed something. Something none of them were ready to hear. And the room? Polished. Trained. Armed with rank and ribbons. Felt smaller. Not because she was bigger, but because she remembered. And they didn't. She stood behind the glass, watching recruits fumble with long-range targets. One instructor spotted her. Mocked without masking it. "You even know how this works?" She pointed, just once, to the scope. The angle. "Winds east. Pull left." He rolled his eyes. Then watched. The next round hit dead center. She didn't react. Didn't smile. just scribbled something into her notebook. Nothing loud, nothing for show. But that night, her name entered a closed file. Observational data, Tier 1 returnee, potential. Marked classified. By the time the next briefing came, no one mocked her. No one welcomed her either. Even silence carries judgment. She sat in the back again. Same chair, same posture. But this time, the instructor didn't ask for ID. Didn't question. He stared at the tag on her side. It glowed. Once, then dimmed. Like it had confirmed something. Something none of them were ready to hear. And the room? Polished, trained, armed with rank and ribbons, felt smaller. Not because she was bigger, but because she remembered. And they didn't. Somewhere in the ops tent, a private comlink opened. High clearance. Only one person at the console. The tech. Still green. He hesitated, then answered. Yes, sir? The voice on the other end. Filtered. Sharp. Keep eyes on Observer 013, no interference. Just logs. The tech nodded. Didn't speak, but his fingers shook while he typed. Across the field, under a bare tree, she sat, cross-legged, eyes closed, not watching, but listening. Her hand tapped against her thigh. Once, then twice quick. A signal code, old, pre-digital. Somewhere, miles away, a terminal caught the rhythm, and someone whispered, she's awake. The tests changed, subtle at first. Faulty gear, broken map keys, then louder. Let her lead, they said. Let's see what she does. Every time, she delivered. Not flashy, not loud, just exact. In one med drill, a recruit froze. Blood packet burst too real. Panic set in. Instructors stepped forward. She was already there. No gloves. No hesitation. Pressure applied. Splint made from the rod of her own bag. Vitals monitor, rebooted by hand. The recruit blacked out. When he woke up in the infirmary, she was gone. But on the table, a folded note. Train him slower. He's not ready for shock. No name. No rank. But they knew. The files came in encrypted. Top brass eyes only. Secure clearance. Layered firewalls. What they pulled wasn't just a record. It was a resurrection. Widow Mark. Last confirmed sighting, Excelta. Presumed KIA. No body. No transmission. Just dust in a dead zone. Until now. Command scrolled slow. 10-year gap. A name that shouldn't be glowing. Final logged op. Unsanctioned extraction. Intel cell compromised. Estimated survival probability? 0.4%. Outcome? Success. But it wasn't the stats that froze them. It was one line. Buried in the post-op debrief. Operative re-entered alone. Extracted 5. Came out with 6. The 6th? A child. No file. No name. That's where the report ends. The general leaned back. File closed, and whispered to the silence, what the hell brought her back? Rumors outrun radio signals. They said she never blinked during stress drills. That her notebook wrote backwards, code within code. That the SV013 patch she carried wasn't a patch. It was prototype. They whispered she wasn't even born here. That she was drafted from something older. Colder. None of it confirmed. All of it felt true. Recruits didn't sit near her. Didn't breathe too close. Instructors? Stopped calling her name. Stopped testing her. Even the cafeteria line. It opened for her like a file too dangerous to touch. She moved like memory. Familiar. Unwanted. But some noticed other things. She taped up a recruit's twisted ankle. Left extra rations on a lower bunk without a word. Wiped blood off another's vest before they got written up. The ghost? She had a pulse. And maybe even a heart. A coded drone circled in low. Dropped a package behind the quartermaster station. No ID. No seal. Just matte black. Box. Thumbprint lock. Maren walked by 10 minutes later. No escort. No detour. The box flashed once. Unprompted. She stopped. Didn't touch it. Just looked. The lock clicked open. Inside, an old model comms headset, calibrated to her signature. Underneath, a single folded paper. If it burns again, let it. She took the headset. Closed the box. Kept walking. No pause. No breath. But 3 floors up, security feed caught her reflection, and her eyes didn't blink. 13 seconds. Unmoving. They weren't watching. They were waiting. They finally pulled her in for a eval. Standard procedure. 45 minutes. Glass wall. 1 chair too many. Therapist leaned in. Tone calm. Too calm. You seem controlled. How do you process aggression? Do you dream? She said nothing. Until you're asking the wrong questions. The pen stopped. The therapist adjusted. Then what should I ask? She answered without blinking. Why I came back? A breath. Why did you? Silence. Then, because someone has to know who's ready. He stopped writing, filed the session, red-stamped the report. Unclassifiable. They gave her observer duty. Again, not a weapon. Just a clipboard. Target set. Wind unpredictable. Tension high. Recruits missed. Shots went wide. She walked the line. No weapon. No commands. Just a whisper. Compensate wind drift at 400. Wrist angles too tight. They listened. Adjusted. Hit center. 1 by 1. Their groupings closed. Scores climbed. She never picked up a rifle. She just watched. The instructor said nothing. Until she walked past, he muttered under his breath, You ever shoot? She didn't answer. Didn't need to. That night, someone updated the logbook. Under Observer 013. Bullseye. No trigger pulled. A recruit tried to impress her. Thought charm could breach her silence. I traced your mission record, he said. You're Widow Mark, right? You ghosted the Balkan tunnels? She didn't nod. Didn't confirm. Didn't flinch. She just said, That wasn't a ghost. He laughed. Too loud. Too forced. Then what was it? She looked through him. Not at him. A warning. He didn't speak again. That night, he moved his bunk farther. Not because he feared her, but because it hit him. She wasn't here to be admired. She was here because someone failed to listen the first time. And now the warning was walking beside them. Quiet, precise. Watching. Security footage caught her. Alone. Middle of the night. 2:03 a.m. Walking toward the perimeter gate. Not lost. Not wandering. Intentional. She paused at the fence. Didn't look back. Looked outward. A thermal sensor pinged. She raised her hand. Not in threat. In signal. Across the fence, a light blinked. Twice. Small. Old. Unregistered. Base command reviewed the log by morning. Who's she signaling? No answer. But one older analyst leaned in. Zoomed. Paused the frame. That's not ours, he said. It's pre-satellite. Low band. Legacy code. Meaning only one thing. Someone else was still listening. And she knew exactly who. A recruit collapsed. Oxygen failure mid-drill. Instructors shouted. Protocols scrambled. She was already inside. Sealed door. Manual override. 30 seconds flat. No panic. No rush. Just motion. Inside, she stabilized him. Compression air. Minimal interference. 60 seconds later, the door hissed open. Maren stepped out. Calm. Unshaken. Behind her, the recruit followed. Barely. Alive, lead instructor asked. What did you do? She handed over the canister. He needed compression air. Not panic coaching. How'd you know? I didn't. A pause. I remembered what it feels like not to breathe. No one said anything after that. Her file was buried deep. Red-stamped eyes only. Omega class. But now, it had an update. Filed by a senior handler. No name. Just clearance. Flimmering exhibits elevated recon skill. Anticipatory instinct. Silent command presence. Recommendation. Tier 0 clearance. Not warfighter. Not ghost. Beyond. Tier 0. Where operators become observers. Where missions vanish before they exist. The note ended with a question. If she's not here to be tested, is she here to test us? No one answered. The signature at the bottom? Redacted. And at the next briefing, no one told her where to sit. They just waited to see where she'd choose. The sun broke. Low, red, unforgiving. Dry wind crept across the yard. Carrying the weight of something unspoken, the PA buzzed overhead. New rotation. Squad Echo report to West Platform. She was already there. Not in formation. Not behind anyone. Just watching. One instructor saw her. "You're not assigned." She didn't answer. Just pointed. At the line. First recruit missed. Second, close. Third, wide again. Then she stepped forward. Not to interrupt. Not to correct. Just to speak. Once, if you can't see the pattern, you're not ready. She turned away. Next recruit, dead center. The instructor said nothing. But in his private notes, he wrote one word. Reckoning. The rain came without warning. Not thunder. Not lightning. Just a cold tactical downpour. Artificial. Controlled. Stress engineered. It hit like a switch flipped from above. Echo units scattered. Rifles slipped. Gloves soaked. Magazines fumbled. But she didn't flinch. Maren stood still. No hood. No shield. Like she'd stood in worse. Much worse. Fingers relaxed. Eyes scanning. She moved without words. Not to lead. To stabilize. She buckled stray straps. Reset half-soaked comms. Adjusted gear like it was second nature, because it was. One recruit opened his mouth to question. Didn't finish the breath. She was already gone. Like rain passing over stone. In the tower, instructors watched. One whispered, "We're not training her." Another finished it, low. "She's recalibrating us." But no one said it louder. Not with command watching. Camp received a new shipment. Gear crates. Black stamped. Restricted, observation only. No one touched them. No one dared inventory. By nightfall, one was missing. No log. No trail. Just one flicker of security footage. A silver windbreaker. Moving like smoke. Maren. No broken locks. No prints. No alarms. The next morning, different boots. Lighter. Silent. Zero residue tread. Classified issue. Not yet released to field. A tech noticed. Leaned in. Where'd she get those? No one asked her. Because sometimes, you don't want the answer. And more often, you fear what the question might unlock. The silence around her? It wasn't absence anymore. It was countdown. One instructor snapped. Couldn't hold the line anymore. Force recon strategy session. He pointed. Walker. You're not in this unit. Why are you here? She didn't answer. Just walked forward. Picked up a marker. On the board, flank breaches, elevation weaknesses, blind corner timings, a schematic. 3 minutes. No bravado. Just truth. Hard. Clear. Unarguable. The entire room stared. Their plan. She'd torn it down with math. The instructor's voice cracked. Dismissed? She didn't nod. Didn't smirk. Just erased the board. Walked out. And left the room, way smaller than she found it. Camp-wide notice. Observer Z13 granted full tactical access. No challenge protocols authorized. Silence. Forks hung mid-air. Blonde recruit from day one muttered, "Guess she's officially untouchable now." But one recruit whispered back, "No. That means she's here for something bigger." He was right. Because while the camp slept, Maren was in the command bunker. Lights off. No screens. Just analog. Black vault tapes. Wheels. Dust. She paused on one frame. Held it. 23 minutes. Eyes unmoving. Then she stood. Left nothing behind. Returned to her bunk. Didn't sleep. Sharpened a pencil. And began drawing. It wasn't art. It was reconstruction. A map. Topographic. Of a zone that doesn't exist anymore. Not on satellite. Not on maps. But it's real to her. Every trench. Every ridge. Every echo. She circled points. Infill point. Last comms. Operator drop. One word kept repeating. Celta. The place she disappeared. Where death never confirmed. Just assumed. Recruits passed her bunk. Didn't notice. But one TA did. He saw the lines. Saw the name. His breath caught. Eyes wide. He backed away. Like the page had heat. Requested reassignment that same night. By morning, his name was gone from the schedule. Scrubbed. Quiet. Maren didn't say a word. Maybe she didn't notice. Or maybe she'd already expected him not to last. They tried a cohesion drill the next morning. Blindfolded. Roped squads. Obstacle gauntlet. No voice commands allowed. Recruits grumbled. Some joked. Others panicked. Maren didn't. She waited. Still, listening. Then, a signal, not shouted, not spoken, tapped into the rope. Rhythmic. Left, halt, crouch, advance. Her squad moved like nerve and muscle, not separate bodies. One, they cleared the course in record time. When the blindfolds came off, one recruit whispered, "How'd you know the codes?" She didn't answer. Didn't have to. From the tower, an old instructor leaned in. Eyes sharp, voice thin. "That's go signal Delta." A pause. Cold War protocol. Buried decades ago. But somehow, she had it. Still breathing in her bones. A private contractor arrived. Medical clearance. Neural diagnostics. Said it was random. Routine. It wasn't. He tested one recruit. Only one. Maren. She didn't resist. Didn't react. Scanner circled her skull. Pulled data in silence. Then, red flag. Not illness. Anomaly. Reflex latency inhuman. Stress response inverted. Memory retention 96%. The contractor blinked. This isn't conditioning. It's something else. He tried to print. Printer jammed. He rebooted. The file gone. Wiped. He left base that night. Didn't pack fully. Didn't debrief. Didn't speak. Just vanished. Like the data had looked back at him. Next drill. Hostage rescue. Simulated breach. Multiple exits. Zero visibility. They cast Maren as the hostage. No interaction, instructors warned. She nodded. Once, the team breached. Swept room after room. Cleared floors. No contact. No trace. She wasn't hiding. She was waiting. Above. On the roof. Beneath the comms relay. Where no one looked. When the timer ran out, she stood. Tossed down the blindfold. Walked off. No announcement. No scene. Just silence. One instructor muttered, "She doesn't play roles. She rewrites them." And every recruit watching understood they weren't chasing her. She was leading. Command sent in a profiler. Not Army. Not contractor. Former CIA, deep behavioral ops. He watched her 4 hours straight. Barracks. Training. Cafeteria. Never approached. Just took notes. At the end, he handed the colonel a page. One line. She's not planning anything. The colonel frowned. So she's stable? The profiler shook his head. No. She's waiting. For what? He looked across the field. Maren stood alone. Notebook open. Eyes still. For something to go wrong. Then he left. No invoice. No debrief. Just gone. Like he saw something too close to truth. The signal came through at 0312. Channel 9. Encrypted. Dead frequency. Unused since 09. One pulse. Pause. Another. Morse code. V13 awake. Not a call-out. A warning. Maren stood in the control tower. Heard it. Didn't react. Just turned off the speaker. A recruit nearby asked, "What was that?" She looked at him. Too long. Too quiet. Then, nothing you'll remember. The signal reached command. Across the world in a black site bunker, a red phone slammed down. A voice barked into the dark. She wasn't supposed to come back. The next simulation was altered. No pre-brief. No maps. No safety net. Real terrain. Real rounds. Live contact drill, they called it. But when the first shot cracked across the field, it wasn't a blank. A recruit screamed. Hit in the leg. Blood on gravel. Others dropped. Panic. Chaos. But not Maren. She moved before command did. Toward the sound. Toward the shooter. No vest. No rifle. Just instinct. 2 minutes later, the firing stopped. Command arrived. Shooter zip-tied to a tree. Disarmed. Dazed. Breathing but barely. Maren stood nearby. Still. Unshaken. She handed over a note. This wasn't a drill. He wasn't one of ours. And walked away before they could ask how she knew. They pulled her that night. Questioning. No lawyers. No comfort. Just control. Polygraph running. Baseline set. Who sent you? Why did you return? Are you operating alone? Her voice stayed flat. Pulse steady. No one. To observe. Always. The machine beeped clean. Unmoved. But behind the glass, the analyst froze. Her neural scan was bleeding something else entirely. Layered signal pulses. Structured waveforms. Not stress. Not deception. Design. Signal architecture embedded deep, but not external. No implants. No wires. Which meant, whatever she became, she built it herself, and no system had a name for it yet. Black Vault Command got the report before dawn. One line stood out. Subject 013 is no longer just Ghost Viper. She's what comes after. Teams tried tracing her records. Nothing past 2018. No handler. No sign-off. No exit file. Only a redacted footnote from her last mission. If she returns, it's not for us. It's because something broke. Back at camp, Maren sat on the rooftop. Notebook closed. Eyes on the sky. The sunrise didn't feel like light. It felt like a warning. And still, no one asked her the question that mattered. Who broke what? A new face appeared. Female. Young. Too polished. Too prepared. Command sent. Shadowing Maren closely. Too closely. What was Excelta really like? She asked once. Maren didn't blink. Didn't flinch. Just said, "Who sent you?" The girl hesitated. Command said. Maren cut her off. That's not what I asked. The next morning, the girl's bunk was empty. No discharge. No record. Gone. Under the bunk, folded into the frame, a note. Wrong shadow. Next time, send someone ready to lose everything. It was never logged. Never recovered. It wasn't meant to be. 3 hours. Perimeter alarms tripped. But guards saw nothing. Just heat trails. Shadows that moved too clean. Recon footage caught a blur. One frame. Near the tower. Motion detectors never triggered. By morning, Maren's boots were dry. But her gloves were missing. One instructor noticed. Didn't ask. Just nodded. That day, a long-dead drone relay self-corrected. A satellite link reactivated. A black box tape from Excelta decrypted. Without input, the system flagged it as coincidence. But the camp knew better. She wasn't reacting. She was cleaning house. Quietly. Surgically, one shadow at a time. At 04 hours, a blackout hit the comms tower. 4 minutes. No lights. No signal. No sound. When backups kicked in, nothing was damaged. Nothing broken. Except one thing. The server labeled Echo R. Gone. Not corrupted. Erased. 0 bytes. Maren was seen walking out of the tower seconds after reboot. No rush. No fear. Just a black notebook. Tucked neatly into her vest. An officer ordered a sweep. He was told, "Stand down. She has observer override." That was all. Nothing else followed. But that night, a tactical commander submitted early retirement. No farewell. No announcement. Just gone. Like the data. They tried surveillance next. Hidden cameras. Behavioral tracking. Observer-grade analysts. But Maren knew. She always knew. One recording. She stared directly into a lens. 27 minutes. Didn't blink. Didn't move. Just stared. The tech on that feed resigned the same day. Left everything. Said she dreamed in numbers that wouldn't stop repeating. Spiral loops. Patterns she couldn't decode. It's not human, she whispered. And walked out. They rewatched the footage. Maren said nothing. But somehow, the room felt different afterward. Like she'd reached through the wire. Left something behind. Not herself. Just enough. Enough to say, "You're not watching me. I'm watching who's watching." Endurance trial. Teams dropped into wilderness. Minimal gear. No contact. No outside help, they warned. Maren wasn't placed on a team. Just dropped. Alone. 72 hours passed. Teams returned. Bloody, broken, bitter. Maren came back last. Unharmed, silent, carrying more than expected. A thermal blanket, and 3 missing recruits from another unit. One unconscious, one limping, one shaking too hard to speak. An officer stepped forward. They weren't part of this trial. Maren didn't respond. Just handed him a note. Black wax seal. No signature. Stamped. "Debrief code burn notice." The officer opened it. Went pale. Then walked away. Fast. No questions asked. The note never reached archives. The officer who read it? Transferred within the hour. Rumors spread like infection. Some said it had coordinates. Some claimed it named someone high level. Others whispered it was a ghost op. Buried before most of them were born. No one wanted to confirm. Because that would mean Maren was reading files. They weren't cleared to imagine. She returned to her bunk. Routine. Quiet. Except now, her notebook had a new mark. Red ink. Circle and triangle. Not military. Not modern. Ancient. Forbidden. Hand-drawn. The kind stamped on files, labeled do not reproduce. A TA glimpsed it once, requested reassignment that same day. Second one that month, because the symbol didn't feel like art. It felt like truth, with sharp edges. A child went missing. Off base, not a drill. Not part of any op. Just gone. No leads. No alert to the camp. No ransom demand. But Maren knew. Left after midnight. No words. 2 nights passed. She returned. Alone. Bruised. Shoulder torn. But not empty-handed. The child, asleep. Safe. Holding her hand. The instructor sprinted forward. Tears in his eyes. Maren knelt. Met the child's gaze. You don't remember me. That's okay. She stood. Turned. Walked away. Never spoke of it again. Never needed to. But after that day, that instructor never questioned her. Not once. Not even when command did. Maren wasn't even listed on the next simulation roster. But when the mission started, she was already there. Not on comms. Not in the field. At the extract point. Watching. Tracking. Logging every mistake. Before it happened. Her notes. Brutal. Precise. Unforgiving. Unit 6 breach delay 0.4 sec fatal. Operator 3. I drift under stress. Reassign or retrain. The simulation failed. But the debrief? Legendary. The colonel kept a copy of her notes. She doesn't train. An advisor whispered. She hunts. The name stuck. From that day forward, they stopped calling her observer. She became something else. Shadow auditor. They tried trapping her. Psych profiles. Ethics scenarios. No-win questions. You're leading a convoy. Civilians on board. One road's rigged with explosives. The other leads to an ambush. What do you choose? Maren didn't blink. I don't drive. I walk ahead. Clear the mines. Draw fire. Let them pass. The psychologist paused. You die? Her reply cut clean. I've already died once. Silence followed. No more questions. Later, her file was updated. Subject untestable by traditional metrics. Someone else added, redesignation pending. But they never replaced the file. Because how do you relabel something that's no longer a subject, but a standard? Weapons malfunction drill. Routine. Until it wasn't. One rifle discharged without warning. Crack. Loud. Everyone dropped. Except her. Maren was already there. Bare hands. Steel grip. Barrel pinned down. Before the round released, a tech stared, pale. You moved before it discharged. She didn't respond. Didn't need to. He reviewed the footage later. Timestamp confirmed it. 0.6 seconds before trigger pull. Not reaction. Prediction. That same tech now keeps her photo, taped under his workstation. Not for honor. For reminder. That sometimes, what looks human isn't operating on the same clock. Outside contractors arrived. Tech specialists. Private clearance. Neural interface research. They asked to speak to Maren. She agreed. 5 entered the room. 5 minutes later, they came back out. Pale, sweating. One dropped his briefcase. Papers spilled across the tile. DARPA logo. Neural defense integration. That night, all 5 disappeared off-grid. Checked into hotels under fake names. One called his wife. If anything happens, tell the kids I tried to do the right thing. They were never seen on base again. And their names? Never appeared in the visitor logs. The camp was ordered to present formal formation. A senator was arriving. Broadcast planned. Observers were told to stay out of frame. But every single camera still caught one figure. Maren, standing still. No salute. No smile. Just watching, like she wasn't honoring the flag, but mourning someone beneath it. After the ceremony, the senator reviewed the footage. He paled. She's here? He asked. We buried that file. He canceled his tour, boarded a jet, gone within the hour. The footage was flagged. Redacted. Never aired. Because even in silence, she had a presence that rewrote the script and reminded the ones who thought they erased her. You don't erase warnings. You wait until they come back. They tried again. A final psych eval. Last-ditch effort. One more attempt to understand what didn't fit their models. The interviewer asked, if this were your last day, what would you regret? Maren blinked once. Slow. Not telling him I remember the river. Who? Doesn't matter. He won't believe it now. The room held its breath. Are you referring to someone in this facility? She didn't answer. Just turned toward the window. Voice low. Some memories are designed to be lost, but some crawl back. And when they do, they burn. The report was filed. Emotionally anomalous. But the handler never finished the paperwork. 2 days later, he left the base. No reason, no goodbye, just gone. A black helicopter. No insignia, no call sign. It didn't land, just hovered. 6 seconds, then lowered a crate. No escort, no orders, just metal and mystery. Inside, a file, stamped repeatedly. Operation Echo Falcon Reactivate Protocol. Maren's name, or what was left of it, on every page. Do not interfere. Do not interfere. Do not interfere. Under the file, her original badge, Sveno 13, faded, worn, but now glowing. Red, pulse faint, but alive. She didn't touch it, just looked, then turned away. That night, her notebook disappeared. Blank pages waited in its place. Not for notes, for a new chapter. The word spread. She's been reactivated. But she didn't leave. Didn't disappear again. She stayed. Drills continued. Simulations ran. Schedules posted. Meals served. But everything was different. She no longer avoided eye contact. She asked questions, studied files not her own. And when recruits passed her, they saluted. Not by order, not by chain of command, by instinct. Because the myth was over. She was real now. Living proof that silence isn't weakness. Power doesn't ask permission. And the dead, they don't always stay buried. Sometimes they return to remind you what you forgot to feel. The lead tactical instructor found a USB. No note, no name. Just one word, etched in metal. Watch. He did. Night vision footage. Screams. Static. Heat signatures collapsing in chaos. And her voice. Calm. Steady. 3 clicks north. Eyes left. Now, he froze the video. The date? 2020. Mission? Redacted. He didn't wait. Ran the footage to command. Who gave you this? He didn't answer. Didn't need to. That night, he burned his own personnel file. In silence. No one asked. Because some truths don't wait for permission. They just surface when it's time. Final formation, clean rows, polished boots, banners at half-mast, and her, Maren, standing apart, not in uniform, not in rank. Just present, the colonel stepped forward, held out the tag. For acts unrecognized, for truths unspoken. Observe 03, return designation confirmed. She looked at the tag, then passed it. Her eyes locked on the horizon. Still, I didn't come back for recognition, she said. I came to see who remembered what we lost. She took the tag, not like an award, like a trigger, like a promise, then turned. Walked into shadow, left behind. A field of silence. A camp changed. A myth, now legend. And in the wind, one whisper held on. She didn't return for us. She returned because something broke. And now, it knew. She was watching. They moved her. Without ceremony. No briefing. No send-off. No explanation. Just a manila folder. Slipped under her door. Active asset 013. At 0300, she was gone. No witnesses. No log entries. Just a black transport. Rolling silent through gravel and frost. Inside, Maren. Still. Back straight. Steel coffee mug between her hands. She didn't drink. Didn't blink. The escort didn't look at her. Didn't speak. Just drove. Through desert. Then forest. Then mountain. 8 hours. No stops. No questions. Just road. At last. A concrete gate. Built into the cliffside. No markings. No badge reader. Just a single retinal panel, red lit, and waiting. She stepped forward. The scan was silent. Then, click, the gate opened, and she walked in, alone. This wasn't a base. It was a bunker. Cut from rock. Built for forgetting. No windows. Just tunnels that curved like old scars. 2 guards followed behind. Black suits. No insignia. But they didn't carry weapons. They carried clipboards. They weren't there to stop her. They were there to record. At the corridor's end, a hiss. The door split open sideways, like a mouth opening to speak. Behind glass, a man in a long coat. "You're late," he said. She didn't answer. Just lifted her tag. He didn't take it. Just nodded once. "We've started the pullback. That means you're back on." She stepped in, and the door sealed. Behind her, no chairs, no table, just walls pulsing with data, lost files, abandoned operations, ghost signatures. Names blacked out in red, dates scorched away. One name flickered above the rest. Exelta. She didn't react, didn't blink, folded her arms, waited. "You shouldn't be here," the man behind the glass said. "But the system reactivated your chain. Manually. No override. No shutdown." She tilted her head. "I thought the system was shut down." It was. Then it woke up. "For you." Silence. "Are you stable?" he asked. She didn't move. "Define stable." He didn't smile. Didn't reply. Just made a mark on the screen. Same as always. One cot. One drawer. No mirror. No cameras. But a file waited on the bed. She opened it. Satellite images. Facial scans. Heat map logs. Not enemies. Not threats. Operatives. Her kind. Redacted. Flagged. Potential breach. She didn't ask why. Opened the drawer. Found a knife. Standard issue. Old grip. She held it. Tested the balance. Not like a weapon. Like memory. No hesitation. There never was. She flipped to the last page. One word. Initiate. Then, she began, sharpening the blade. The training began the next morning. But not for her. For them, new units, fresh uniforms, fresh targets. She stood in a blackened booth. Didn't move. Didn't speak. She was just there. Watching. Tracking. Assessing. A recruit laughed. "Who's the statue in the glass box?" "By lunch?" He was bleeding on the mat. Maren never left the booth. Didn't lift a finger. Didn't raise her voice. But he went down. Nerve strike. Delayed collapse. A trick they didn't teach anymore. The commander leaned in. "She's not here to train you," he said. "She's here to see who survives." Nobody laughed after that. She didn't need to speak. Her presence was a scar that never healed. A story the walls still remembered. And the kind of silence you earn by outliving it. They ran a test. Drop simulation. 12 recruits. Urban collapse scenario. Live fire. Smoke grenades. Screams on loop. One by one. Failures. Wrong cover. Missed signals. Too much heart. Not enough sense. Then, one recruit, knees shaking, looked up. High above, through cracked concrete and smoke. A silhouette. Maren. Not in the sim. Not on the roster. But watching. She didn't move. Didn't speak. Just stood. He froze. Then something changed. Breathing evened. Grip tightened. He moved smarter. Slower. Made it to extraction. One of 2 who did. In debrief they asked, "What changed your outcome?" "She saw me," he said. That was enough. No one logged it. No one needed to. Everyone remembered. A candidate broke protocol. Tried to pull her file. Access denied. Tried again. System froze. Third time, clearance revoked. Off base in under an hour. No hearing. No reason. Just gone. Someone checked his terminal later. Final attempt. The screen didn't crash. It displayed one phrase. Observer 013, not meant for review. Under it, coordinates. No map. No labels. Just numbers. Cross-checked. A site in the Arctic. Inactive since 2014. Officially abandoned. Unofficially redacted. No one knew what it meant. Maren did. She said nothing. The next op was simple. Surveillance gone wrong. 2 agents out of position. Extraction team scrambled. Maren wasn't on the list. But when the team boarded, she was already seated. You weren't listed, the pilot said. She handed him a sealed envelope. Now I am. He didn't ask again. Mid-up, comms failed. GPS cut. One agent screamed through static. Where is she? Then, she stepped through the smoke. No fanfare. 3 strides. 2 shots. Targets down. No words. No orders. She walked the agents out, like they were sleepwalking. Back at base, no report. Just 1 bullet casing. Still warm. Placed quietly. On the colonel's desk. The colonel watched the security feed. Again. And again. And again. It didn't make sense. Maren's route didn't match any known ingress. She walked through a wall. Literally. No breach. No damage. No opening. Just air. And then her. Glitch in the feed, a junior officer suggested. But there was no glitch. No lag. No dropped frame. She had passed. Through matter. The colonel burned the tape. Not out of fear. Out of understanding. If she could move through walls, then the war wasn't where he thought it was. And the rules were already broken. One night, dim hallway. Late. A new recruit stumbled into her path. Eyes wide, lost, panicked. Where's the infirmary? He asked. She pointed. Didn't speak. He ran. Later, an instructor asked her, How did you know where to send him? He never said he was injured. Her voice was ice. His gait was off, favoring his left. Cold sweat. Pupille dilation. Classic gut wound. But he hadn't been shot. She looked at the instructor. Flat, certain. Not yet. That night, the recruit collapsed. Internal rupture. They saved him. With seconds to spare, the instructor said nothing. But in his personal logbook, he wrote, they started following her. Not with orders. Not in formation. Just trailing. Meal breaks. Drills. Shadows. Watching how she moved. How she stood still. How silence bent around her. One girl no older than 19 shadowed Maren for a week. Never spoke. Never broke eye contact. Then vanished. Her cot, empty. No discharge. No note, but on Maren's bunk the next morning, a file. Inside a drawing. Crude. Charcoal. But unmistakable. Maren, alone, facing a burning helicopter. Bodies falling behind her. One name scrawled at the bottom. Charlotte V. Dated 10 years ago. But the paper, still warm. Maren didn't speak. Didn't react. She folded it once. Slid it into her pocket. Her face stayed calm. But her hands, they trembled. They assigned her a partner. Standard protocol. Rotation observation. Name Keller. Ex-Intel. Steady hands. He tried casual. You like chess? She didn't answer. Just moved a pawn. 4 moves later. Checkmate. That was fast, he said. You lost in your second move, she replied. The rest was just shadowboxing. He never mentioned chess again. That night, Keller filed a report. She understands the entire board before it's even set. The response he got, 4 words. No punctuation. Just clarity. That's why she's here. Keller kept notes. But not about what she did. About what happened. Around her. Silence followed her into rooms. Arguments halted. People straightened. Without being told. Not fear. Alignment. Like her presence was gravity. Pulling everyone into formation. One afternoon, he finally asked, Do you know what you do to people? She paused. Voice low. I remind them of what they survived. And if they didn't survive it, then I carry it for them. That night, Keller locked his notebook in a drawer. Left his room key on her desk. One final test. 0 sleep simulation. 72 hours. No breaks. No rotation. Every observer pulled out. Except her. Maren stayed, eyes open, watching every feed. No blink. No shake. Final hour. A recruit cracked. Hallucinating. Screaming. Collapse. They called medics. But Maren was already kneeling beside him, one hand on his shoulder, whispering, "You're not back there. You're here. With me." Eyes open. Anchor in. His breath slowed. Pulse returned. He lived. Later, he asked, "What did you say to me?" She shook her head. "Not what I said. It's who said it." He didn't drop out. Graduated top of class. Keller was reassigned. No warning. No debrief. Just gone. But he left something. A note tucked beneath her coffee mug. No name. No sign-off. Just one sentence. "They're going to use you to finish what they couldn't start." She read it. Once. Then burned it. No expression. Just smoke. Then she looked in the hallway mirror. The only reflective surface left on base. Her eyes lingered. Then narrowed. For the first time, she looked afraid. Not of death. Not of failure. Of being remembered. Wrong. Of becoming the weapon they needed for a war she never chose. She whispered to no one. Not again. They sent her to Night Vault. No entrance logs. No exit times. No shadows on the map, carved into the cliffside. Below clearance. Below protocol. The elevator required dual biometric confirmation. Both prints. Hers. Inside. A corridor of steel breath. No cameras. No AI. Only canisters. Sealed. Numbered. Archived. Not files. Not footage. Memories. Encoded chemically. Shelf 44V. She paused. Inside. A sliver of cloth. Burnt. Bloodstained. Still faintly warm. The label read, "Upkestrel. Confirmed casualty, Keller." Her hand touched the glass. Too long. Too still. Then she turned. Walked away. Behind her, the lights dimmed. Not malfunction. Recognition. A new director arrived. Crisp. Strategic. Too clean. His first order, clear all legacy assets. Reorganize. Reassign. Erase. Triple sealed door. Private briefing. "We appreciate your service," he said, "but it's time to move forward." She didn't answer. Just slid a file across the table. Inside, every breach, every encrypted channel, every lie he thought buried. At the bottom, one sentence. "You were cleared to dismantle the program, not silence its witnesses." His hands shook. "You have no jurisdiction." She stood. Slow. Still. "I'm not a witness." She leaned in. "I'm the archive." That night, the system flagged her. Override issued. Internal. No trace. Emergency blackout. Comms down. Cameras looped. Kill team activated. Faceless. Silent. Efficient. They moved in. But her chamber, empty. No sign of struggle. No breach. Just her boots, neatly placed, at the foot of the bed. One operative turned to the mirror. Her reflection, visible. His? Gone. He blinked. Then, a crack. Hairline. Spreading, like steel remembering how to shatter. Lights flickered. Darkness. They called it off. 3 never came back. 48 hours later, she returned. On the roof. Dawn breaking. Coffee in hand. No wounds. No dirt. Just calm. An officer approached. "Where were you?" She didn't turn. "Where they can't find me." "Who?" She smiled. Soft. Certain. All of them. Roll call echoed below. But 2 names. Didn't answer back. System flagged them. Status unknown. The director ordered lockdown. Demanded override. The console returned one phrase. Viper reignited. She requested reassignment. Not for herself. For the broken ones. The misfits. The injured. The ignored. They saw, she said. They stayed. HQ denied it. 3 times. On the 4th, It came back approved. Signed in red. No name. Just a seal. Omega-3. That night, the misfits changed. New gear. Encrypted tags. Clearance scrubbed. One recruit asked, "Are we a real unit now?" Maren looked at him. "You were never fake." The squad trained differently now. No cadence. No commands. Just war without ceremony. City grids built from sandbags. Blackout drills. Close quarters. Knife only. No scoreboards. No rest days. Maren never shouted. She just moved. And they followed. Even limping. Even bleeding, but never breaking. An instructor watched from the tower. "Why them?" he asked. Maren didn't pause. "Because they know what it costs to stay when everyone else leaves." He said nothing more. But the next day, he left a ring of keys on her locker. No label. No note. Just trust. The order came unannounced. No badge. No name. Just coordinates. A time. Maren read it. Then burned the packet. "Gear up," she said. "This one's not simulated." No one hesitated. They packed. One recruit froze, photo of her little brother in hand. Should I bring this?" Maren studied the face, then nodded. "Bring what makes you return." They boarded the transport, silent, focused, but their grip tightened. This mission was different. They felt it. She knew it. They landed on a ridge. Cracked earth, fog thick as bone dust. Below, a village drowned in silence. Drone feeds died mid-drop. Command went dark. Maren stared east, eyes narrowing. "Static masking," she muttered. They moved. Third house and a body, tactical gear, insignia burned. No ID. One recruit knelt. He was like us. Maren nodded. "That's why we're here." Then, a sound. Not a footstep. A pulse. Slow. Ancient. Something had woken. And it wanted to be seen. They entered the church last. Stone shattered. Pews burned. Air, sharp like rusted wire. At the altar, a steel mask. Untouched. Pulsing faintly. Maren froze. Breath caught. One recruit stepped forward. "Don't," she whispered. "It's not decoration." "What is it?" "Not what, who?" She unzipped her jacket, revealing her shoulder. Branded. Same symbol. Faint. Old. Burned into skin, not memory. This isn't a mission. It's a message. The mask pulsed. Once, the floor cracked. Then dropped. They fell into the vault. Walls of lead. Air thin. Lights red flickering. Not alone. Figures moved. Too fast. Too silent. Not machine. Not human. Something. Between. Maren drew her knife. No shout. No plan. Just a glance. And the squad locked in. First strike. From above. Silent. Precise. But it missed. They held the line. Tight. Dead center. Then vanished. No bodies. No blood. Just breath. Just questions. "What are they?" Someone whispered. Maren didn't blink. Versions of what we were meant to become. Her grip tightened. "We're the control group." Voiceover, scenes 26 to 30, cinematic, classified military tone, Eon 1000 words total. They reached the core chamber. No locks, no guards. Just silence, thick, knowing. At the center, an orb. Data suspended in magnetic flux. Pulsing, breathing. Surrounding it, pods. Hundreds, each labeled. Each dated. Some empty, some still full. Maren approached one marked Mu-13. It was open. Inside, a blood stain. Dried, familiar. The orb throbbed louder. Echoed like a heartbeat. Her heartbeat. "It's not recording," she said. "It's predicting." The orb's pulse accelerated. One recruit stepped back. "We shouldn't be here." "No," she said, eyes locked on the glass. "We were always meant to come back." She placed her hand on the pod. It opened wider, and the room began to tremble. A voice filled the air. Not sound, mind. All variables have returned. Sequence, rebirth. The orb fractured. Light spilled. Then, memories. Ops they never ran. Scars they didn't earn. Victories that felt like dreams, but weren't. One recruit fell to her knees. It's not mine, she screamed. Maren knelt beside her. Calm. Steady. That's what they stole. Well, that's what we reclaim. She placed a hand on the girl's chest. Breathe. Choose what to carry. Leave the rest. The girl's eyes flickered. Bloodshot, but calm. I'm here, she whispered. And she stood. Reclaimed. Oh, onyx fill. The village ignited. Sirens howled. Flames surged. And from the ash, they returned. Figures. Not machine. Not man. Watching. Not attacking. One stepped forward. Placed its hand on its chest. Then bowed. To Maren. Then another. Then all. The squad froze. Why are they bowing? A voice asked. Maren raised her hand slowly. Returned the gesture. Because we didn't erase who we were, she whispered. We remembered. The figures dissolved. Into smoke. Into myth. The chopper lifted off. No celebration. Just silence. Holy. Heavy.